Hello. Surprise, isn't it? I decided to quickly go live while I'm walking the dogs. There you go. There's some of them you can see. There's 4 of them I'm walking. 3 of them are Gary's and 1 of them is mine. And my voice is a bit croaky because ever since coming back from the States with Bethan, who had a bit of a cold, as we were coming home, I think she passed it on to me. But that's all right, we can share bugs. So I'm just walking the dogs, and I just wanted to say to you that as we go through the workshops this year, I'm going to try and vlog the workshops like I did last year. We haven't got long now until we leave to go to New Zealand and Australia. I hope it's not too windy. I look a bit rough, don't I? But it's only because I'm out here walking in the cold. So I'm going to try and do that again. I'm not going to put it down as a mini life challenge because I failed it last time. I wasn't able to keep up with it. So this time I'm just going to go live when I can. And it won't be at a set time every day because obviously I'll be traveling to different places of the world. So that'll be just too difficult for me to work out. So I'm just basically going to go live when I can. But today, and hopefully I won't be on here for too long, excuse me, I wanted to talk about crippled horses. I wanted to talk about the last couple of posts that I've just shared on the HM public page. Please do follow the HM public page. I know that most of the time I reshare it into the Phoenix group, but obviously the Phoenix group is a closed free group. Anybody can join as long as they answer all the questions and they play nicely when they get in there. But on the HM public page, that's where we talk to the world. That's where hopefully we spark interest in people and why we are doing what we're doing. So please do follow the HM public page, blah, 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 and please do get in there and help us spread the word. But the 2 videos that I shared today, or last night and today, of 2 horses, one called Dream, one called Bailey, where Shannon Orr is the HMB Pro for Dream, and Bethan is the trimmer. I'd like to call her an HMB Pro, really. Is honorary for Bailey. And both of these horses were totally crippled. And this is just these 2. You've heard of so many more, haven't you? This is just these 2. I'm just going to get a chair so I can sit down because I've come back now. It's going to get dark, so I'll go back out. Oh, got a runny nose. Wait a minute. I'll look at your comments in a minute. Ooh. Right, let's sit down. No, dog. No, I'm going to get dogs. Dogs, leave me alone. So, where was I? Both of these horses were crippled. Why? Because the vets who were involved with their care when these horses became unsound immediately jumped on laminitis. They immediately jumped on, oh my goodness, this horse can't walk, so therefore it must have laminitis. We have gone so far now down the rabbit hole that the moment that a vet turns up, and I'm not saying this is every vet, but we hear hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of stories and see the result of what happens to these animals. And some of them don't get saved because their feet get messed about with very quickly. So they go down this rabbit hole of, oh, it must be laminitis, even when they can take bloods and find that these horses don't necessarily have any metabolic markers. And sometimes they do, and sometimes they're overweight, and sometimes they go, well, there you are then. correlation doesn't mean causation. So both of these horses had, if they ended up with incorrect hoof care. Dream started with incorrect hoof care, and they were trying their best to make her feet better by putting her in casts, etc., of which only a few trims on, the casts are still stuck to the front of the feet. And Bailey, he didn't start with terrible hoof care, but he ended up with terrible hoof care because they believed that the hooves were the problem, even though there was nothing on the x-rays to suggest that that's what was going on. But because he was shuffly, because he wasn't very well and he had a temperature and they weren't triaging him properly, they immediately went for the feet. So this horse who had problems systemically to do with an infection was treated as though he had a foot problem when he didn't. We have the x-rays. But he certainly ended up with one. Now, I'm not going to go through it in huge detail, not yet, because it's still very early days with Bailey. But I can tell you that in just a very few short months, 3 months, he was sent to a place where he was about to be put to sleep. And all of that was from mismanagement with his hooves. Didn't have anything really wrong with them at the beginning, but he certainly did at the end. Now, that's not because P3 started to rotate and sink. Nothing like that happened. What happened, if you buy into that, that's what it looks like, what was happening on the x-rays. But when you actually start comparing front feet with back feet, you start comparing x-rays sequentially, the true picture begins to unfold. And that true picture is one of hoof capsule manipulation and imbalance by ignorance and professional ignorance. Now, it's not because these people don't want to help. They're trying to, but they're going down the wrong road because everything now points to this L word, this laminitis word, where as soon as a horse looks shuffly and in pain, they immediately jump on the, oh my goodness, P3 is going to rotate. So stick him in a box. He was in such a small box that he had to put his head over the wall to turn around. Now, this isn't because his owners kept him in a box all the time. They didn't. They did, you don't need a box all the time. But because the vets had said, right, he's got to go in a box, that was the only availability to them. What we're doing is we are getting it wrong constantly, and we're getting it wrong constantly because, I don't know if you can hear Casimir. He's over there. He's over there. Oh, no, you probably can't see him. It's too far away. That's our donkey, our Patu donkey. So they're getting it wrong. Whoops. They're getting it wrong because they believe in the wrong story. Now, the other night, there was a webinar on Thursday evening with Chris Pollett, and I paid £75 to go on this webinar, and so did Bethan. And on this webinar, it was meant to be about myth busting. It was a myth busting webinar. So clearly, I paid, and I was very upfront about who I was, and I didn't hide my name or anything, because I wanted to hear what this myth busting was all about. And what unfolded was 2 hours of, yet again, going down the enzyme lamella failure from metabolic issues, that the orthodoxy of this is what laminitis is. At no point was hoof care discussed. And so I put a question to Chris Pollett, saying, basically, how did you rule that out? How did you rule out hoof care or incorrect hoof care or just the hoof capsule full stop? How did you rule that out as a causation while you were doing these experiments? Excuse me. And the answer was, as soon as it was read out to him, his face was a picture of complete and utter surprise. He didn't know how to answer the question. It took him a few seconds to gather himself, and his face told the story. And then he sidestepped the question and went off in a different tangent, wasn't answering the question at all. Now, that might have been political, or it just might have been he didn't understand the question. That's fair enough. It was a question that was thrown at him live. I spend my life doing lives, and people throw questions at me all the time. And it does take, sometimes you have to think, have a thought. But my question to him was, were you doing sequential hoof capsule imaging, x-ray? How can you rule that out? How can these horses, if you develop the question, how could these horses that you had into the experiment that spanned over a period of at least 6 weeks, all have healthy feet, all from the start and all the way through the experiment, as each of these horses was fed into the experiment? Why weren't these images and x-rays taken? So I never got my question answered. And at the end of the webinar, after Chris Pollitt had left, the people that were running the webinar realized I was on the webinar and invited me on to speak, not but just by audio. And I briefly spoke. I did go on and I briefly spoke to them. They want me to do a webinar with them. But the problem is, what they want me to do is come along and talk to them about what we're doing, and for them then to just argue the point with us and say, but no, but blah blah. And we have so much evidence now. And when I said we have absolutely tons of evidence to prove that these hoof capsules are being manipulated in such a manner, accidentally, but in such a manner that it's causing these horses to become crippled and lose their lives and suffer. And when I said that, they said, "Well, you need to publish your evidence," but not in a journal. Or they then sort of realised, went, "Oh, well, but not in a journal." And I said, "I do publish my evidence, and you know, we do every single day. We publish this evidence every day. You go on the HM page, it's in there every day. Not only that, if you go into the Phoenix group, you will see evidence of people following what we're saying, and their horses are recovering. Not because they changed the diet, not because they changed the management. Now, of course, diet is important. Of course, it's important. Horses should be eating long natural fibre. They shouldn't be overloading themselves on sugary grass. But that, if anything, is going to cause issues with their weight and potentially issues with their insulin, etc. But it won't cause problems with their feet. And we've said this so many times, but they don't want to listen. So how many crippled horses do we have to go through? How many crippled horses do we have to turn around before people start to listen? Now, if the world is saying to you, well, yes, mechanical laminitis is a thing, well, let me tell you, the mechanical side of it is way, way, way at the top of the tree. So if you're not doing research on that part of the crippled problems, then that's negligence. Because if you're only doing research on the odd few horses that get systemically sick, and then you try and correlate that to their feet, then you are missing thousands upon thousands upon thousands upon thousands of horses who are crippled because of incorrect hoof care. Now, I mean, I'm a cynic, right? If you go and do research on incorrect hoof care of something we are going to struggle hugely in the world to correct, that's not going to sell an awful lot of drugs, is it? And it's not going to make an awful lot of money for the people who are doing the research. That's the cynic in me. It's very simple to fix. You stop manipulating horses onto the wrong plane. You stop putting them in the incorrect balance. You stop taking off too much toe and leaving too much heel. It's very, very simple. But sadly, the very, very, very difficult part of that is teaching a world how to do it properly. Well, that's what we do, obviously, in our school. This isn't an advert for the school, but our school has been going 3.5 years and we have 100 pros stroke students. We've just gone through the start of our CPD, which will, for our qualified pros, which will go on every single year. They can do it either in person or online. And we've had nearly 100% uptake on our CPD, which means that these pros are going out into the field and they want to carry on doing what they're doing. And it's a tough job because if you look at Shannon's page, you look at Lisa's page, Laura's page, there are so many of them coming through now where they are showing on their pages the rehabs that they are doing and the changes in the hoof care. This isn't just a case of them turning up and just doing a trim. This is a case of them turning up and rebalancing the horse's feet from what they were before. And that's what's saving these horses. So this school, this is what we're teaching. We're teaching correct balance. Now they would argue, the world would argue that they can all balance feet, but we would argue, no, you can't. We spend our lives going around trimming horses that have been put on the wrong plane. Now that means a lot to the internal anatomy. That means the hoof capsule is not the internal anatomy's glove. And it should be. It should be a perfect fit. And what we're finding is toes are being removed to the point where it's not enough foot to cover P3, making horses horribly unsound. There are vets turning up who are looking at these feet and have absolutely no clue at all what makes a balanced foot. So what hope have you guys as owners got? None. You've got no hope at all because you poor people out there that own horses have no clue whether the horse's feet are balanced or not. So we have to teach you from the ground up, which is what the workshops are doing. So these workshops are all over the world. New Zealand, Australia, we start in March. Please come along and see us. We do have spaces, and even if we don't, we will try and squeeze you in. Because we know how much it means to you. We have people contacting us saying, help me now. I need help now. And it's true, they need help right now. And we try our best to put them in touch with our pros and these are people all over the world online. And sometimes we get there too late and the horse has been put to sleep. Or a vet turns up and says, oh, no, you don't want to follow them. You don't want to follow that. Your horse will never recover. Look at P3 in the wrong position. That's never going to work. Put that horse to sleep. It'll be the best thing for them. That's what happened to Dream. That's what happened to Bailey. That's what happened to Wex, to Pluto, to Hector, to Odessa. The horses that you know now from following HM or Goresworth. This is a travesty, people. It's awful. Shannon was telling me that a vet turned up and they'd seen they've seen the images because obviously we take photographs before and after. And many times, especially at Goresworth, we're able to do that instantly. We're able to get the horse in, no track change, no diet change. The horse comes in and we change the balance of P3 inside the hoof capsule immediately and we x-ray it again to show you. And then we have to grow out all the damage that was caused by the professional ignorance that went on before that. So Shannon was just saying to me, you know, the vet turns up and sees the incorrectly balanced hoof capsules and they look at those and they don't see a problem. And they go, oh, the feet are okay, but look inside, P3's in the wrong position. And then Shannon comes along and rebalances the hooves. They look completely different. And the vet goes, and Shannon shows the vet, and the vet goes, oh, yeah, they look fine. What? So which one was fine? the incorrect balanced one or the balanced one. And then, of course, as soon as we start to grow out the imbalance and the problems that horse was suffering as the feet were going out of balance on the wrong plane, then suddenly we're the loony bins and we're the nutters. And yet we're the ones with horses that are now not crippled. You've still got the crippled horses that you're still putting to sleep. So, this is I know that we're waking the world up, but I tell you what, there's an awful lot of backlash still. There's an awful lot of people out there that truly don't want to believe it. You know what? Because they're comfortable in their crippled, put the horse to sleep world. They're comfortable in their, Chris Pollitt told us this was a metabolic issue, and so therefore it must be that. They're comfortable looking at these horses, putting them to sleep, one after the other. All of those horses that I've just mentioned were all about to be put to sleep. All of them. So all the lives they've lived and lives they're living from now on sound or becoming more sound. So Bailey and Dream are the last couple coming through the system that we're showing you. Dream not at Galsworth, but being trimmed by Shannon, who's Galsworth's hoof care professional, one of our HMB pros. We're showing you these publicly, and we show them to you publicly because we show you the process of how we get them back to being sound again, thereby growing out the distortion that they turned up with. This is a travesty, and I've said many times, as the world wakes up and as the world realizes the error they have bought into, it's going to be horrible for so many owners out there whose horses are suffering, whose horses have been put to sleep, they couldn't save their horses. We see horses come to us in our inbox that are no longer living, and they do it on the public page too. And owners want some kind of closure, and it's really not pleasant. And they come along and they show us these X-rays of horses with rotation, looking like they've sunk when they haven't at all. It's not the P3 that's sinking, it's the hoof capsule that's shrinking in those incidences. And they come along and they say, could my horse have been saved? And P3 is fine. P3 has not at that point gone through any serious osteonecrosis. And with rebalancing and letting the toe grow, those horses would have recovered. How horrible is that? People are living with the horror of not only having their horse put to sleep, but suffering up until that point and then paying for the privilege of that. Privilege. It's got to stop, guys. And we will not stop until we get more and more people to understand what's going on with the feet and the imbalances and see the imbalance. So Chris Pollitt didn't answer my question. So apparently today, Saturday, Chris Pollitt is I've been told is going to email me with this answer that he couldn't answer live. We'll see. We'll see what his answer is. Perhaps I'll talk to you about that on another live. Let me very, very quickly go through some of these. I have to look down my glasses because I'm focus because I'm blind. Right. Oh God, there's so many people are on here today. How did you do that? I mean, literally didn't even warn you I was going live. Dawn, good morning, Lindsay. Who's that? Truscott, Jill. Morning. Becky Bragg's here. Morning. We've all got some germs at the moment. Hope you feel better soon. I feel all right. I just sound rotten. Karen Davis is here. Morning. Stella's here. Good day. It's a better time for you, isn't it, my lovely? You wait till we're over down under. You'll catch all of them then. Mind you, you catch them all anyway because you stay up into the middle of the night. You're mad. Therese is here. Morning. Tracy Gray's here. Hi. Sandra's here. Good morning. Good morning. I can't pronounce that. Good morning from Curich. In Czech. Karen says, morning, Karen Mackinson. Oh, I've missed you. It's really difficult to do this in a tiny little box that StreamYard give me when I'm in landscape. I'll try not to bugger it up. Karen Davies says, love these surprise lives. Thank you. Thank you for coming along and joining me. Gary says, morning, pal. Morning, pal. Your dogs are fine. Here they are. Look, they've just been out for a walk. And my dog. They're all fine, Gary. All's good. They're waiting for me to give them some morning biscuits, I think. Oh, who's this? Look, it's a little, he's a little, oh. That's Gus. Where was I? Sorry. Angela Garberg says, morning, Lindsay. We are grateful for whatever and whenever you can share any shape or form. You did not fail doing the mini lives. I did, because I was meant to be doing it every day and I failed. But I will try and vlog my journey this year. Oh my God, I think we've got something like 13 workshops, something like that. More than that, I think. And all over the world, as well as training camps with the pros, CPD day with the pros. So much we're doing this year. I thought when I created the online challenges that people would just be taking up on the online challenge and wouldn't need to go out in the world and do workshops anymore. Apparently not. That's not what everybody wants. They want me to go out and do these workshops and kill myself in the process. I'm only joking, but you'll see me jetting around all over the place. And I am sorry, planet. I'm so sorry. I will have a carbon footprint and I am so sorry. But it is the only way that I can get to people who want to see what we do in person. Jenny's here, evening from New Zealand, finally made it to a live. Yes! You see? Leo and Zia, are you saying vets can't be trusted? Only you can. Well, Lee, I saw you all over the public page. And rather than coming in with a question that's not a question, because that's not really your question, is it? What you're coming in with is with feeling like it's all everything has been affronted. We're saying the vets aren't wrong. We are wrong. We're saying incorrect hoof care is the problem. Instead of coming in with a question that's not really a question, start by not speaking first. Just go and start looking, which is what people who have got extremely sore horses who are suffering are doing. So that's the first thing to do. We're not ogres, we're not morons, we're not people who are stupid. We are people that are doing things that laminitis research never did. We are going and we are taking sequential x-rays and we are taking sequential photos. This never happens. Now, I don't know whether you are a farrier or not, but if you are, I wonder how many photos you actually take in between for each horse, every single horse you go to. I can tell you that there are no vets that I come across that sequentially take photos. They take x-rays and rarely do they ever go back and look at them. Now, you could say that's not true. In our world, and I can tell you we see thousands and thousands of people and cases, it doesn't happen. It doesn't happen. We are showing you that hoof care is in the gutter, that people are trimming hooves to their own personal preference, to what they think is balance, and to hell with what's going on inside the hoof capsule, to hell with what's going on with the internal anatomy. It's a get out of jail free card, because as soon as the horse starts going sore, we go and have an x-ray. You and the vet, who both believe that it was laminitis, because you both bought into Laminitis Incorporated, believe that the P3 that you see in the incorrect position was not caused by the incorrect balance of that hoof capsule, which we can all see. It was caused by something metabolic, even if that horse has no metabolic markers whatsoever and is skinny and fit. So, Lee, yes, what we're saying is that it's not it's not a them versus us. It's a here we are dealing with this problem, showing the world. And every time you come with a question that's not a question, saying, oh, well, you can be trusted, but the vets can't. What we're saying is you need to look, because nowhere will you find in any of the laminitis research papers, the peer reviewed papers, will you find sequential x-rays and images of the hooves of the horses that were being tested. Now, unless you have that, you cannot rule out that as a cause. So what we're doing is saying, let's take this horse, another one that's been diagnosed with laminitis. Let's look at its feet. Okay, here we are. We're looking at its feet. We're x-raying its feet and we're looking at them. Oh dear, the hoof capsule's out of balance again. Let's rebalance the hoof capsule. And we talked to vets about this. Let's rebalance the hoof capsule and, oh, look, P3 stays put It doesn't continue to rotate, even though we know we have lamini attachment mechanism failure, because it's not suspended. So just look. Don't get shitty and titty. Just go and have a look. This isn't a personal attack. This is saying to the world, wake the hell up, because these horses are suffering and being put to sleep because of a story that wasn't true. And even when I put that question to Chris Pollitt 2 nights ago, he couldn't answer it, because the answer is no, I didn't. I didn't take photographs of the feet because I didn't think that was an issue. Although in the late 1990s, he was writing papers about mechanical causes of lamini separation. And then he did a pivot and they stopped looking at that, and it was all about drugs. This is the truth. I'm not making it up. This is what's happening in the world. So don't keep coming with questions that aren't questions. Go and have a look for yourself. Do your own. And I said to you yesterday, you've not done your due diligence, at which you replied and said, how do you know I haven't? Well, I know because of the responses that you're giving me. Anyway, that's enough. That's enough. You need to go and have a look yourself. Lee Jenkins is here. Evening from New Zealand. Evening, my darling. See you soon. Stella says, donkey love. Donkey love. Now, I'm not going to keep replying to you, Lee, as I go down, because you really have been told so many times now, but the reason you're not listening is because you're asking questions that aren't really questions. So go in and sort it out for yourself. That's it. Go and have a look. And then I'm more than happy to discuss that with you. But then but you need to go and look yourself first. And you are absolutely spamming this live, because you're not really asking questions, are you, Lee? You know, if it's just the hoof, why is diet important? Because isn't diet important for human beings too? Diet is important, but it doesn't cause P3 to rotate. It doesn't cause the heels to rise or the toes to be chopped off. Look, have a look. Go and see for yourself. That's what we're talking about. Lee, constantly Lee. Honestly, what's wrong with you? Have you got some kind of, I don't know what it is. Stop it now. Stop asking questions that aren't questions and go and have a look yourself. Don't be lazy, and don't expect people, don't be entitled, and don't expect people to do the work for you. You have to go and look like everybody else does. Penny says, results are published daily. They are indeed. Karen says, well said, Penny. Again, Lee, again. No evidence of navicular, says Penny. Hey there, this is Viv Avery. This is a surprise. Debbie Jackson says, I have evidence in my horse changed to an HM trimmer, and he is no longer struggling to walk on stones, etc. Donkey. Is no longer struggling to walk on stones. His toe had previously been taken back to short, thereby reducing the vertical depth. Well done, my lovely. Chloe says, wow, Lee seems to be particularly cross this morning. There are loads of cases showing HM fixing horses. It just looks different to what the world was used to. Definition of madness is doing the same thing and expecting a different result. I'm fully with HM changing the world. You've got to go and look. I'm not going to feed this to you. Want a spoon? You've got to go and look. We're putting the evidence out there. If you're telling me, people, that the science research says different, then you've obviously looked at that. Well, I'd hope you have, but you've not looked at what we're doing. Just because we're not publishing it in a journal and hiding this information and this data in a drawer for 2 years until I come out and do some manipulation with the statistics and then tell you what I found was true. Just because we're not doing that, we're doing it live every month. Don't undermine us because we're not up there in a journal. You should never undermine the truth that you're actually seeing before your very eyes. Not AI, not made up. This is information that we are openly sharing with you, with the world. Okay, Joe says hello. Lee says the other Lee is giving Lee's a bad name. Oh, just go and look. Other Lee. Is that what you'll be known as? Other Lee. Penny says, say all of us, Chloe. New Zealand is watching. Hi, guys. Joe Tracy Kirk says, been through terrible time here. Horse was put to sleep after owner took it away and broke my heart. This is what goes on, and it's so bloody sad, and we have to stop it. We're not round the bend. We are showing you that these hoof capsules are being treated incorrectly. Now, what does that mean? Errors, human beings. Yes, it does. That's why it's going to be so difficult to change. Suzanne Scheids here from Germany. Hello, my darling. I'll love to see you in the Germany workshop. Looking forward to it. Carmen's here. Hello. Alexandra Cameron's here. Hello there. Penny says, otherly, the vets, farriers, and are the ones making money out of creating pathology. I'm sharing this free. My YouTube videos are free. The lives are free. Do we have courses that people can pay for? Yes, we do, because we go there on workshops and we teach people in person. I do that for 3 days. Do you expect a vet to come out and treat your horse free? Is that what you think's going to happen? Do you expect a farrier to go and trim a horse free, or a pro to go and trim a horse free? So why would I be doing absolutely everything free and then not being able to pay for my journeys around the world? Come on. That's again, they're not questions, are they? They're just poking. Laura Girling says, morning, my lovely. Susan Hughes from Wales says, hello, good morning to you. Roger Brown, it's 3 a.m. in Missouri. Good day, 3 a.m. in Missouri. Hello. I promise I will do these lives at different times. I promise. Lindsay Dinsdale's here, morning. We'll fill you in when I see you in New Zealand. Thanks, Joe. I'm sort of looking forward to it, seeing you. I'm not looking forward to the stories. How's the book coming along? It's coming along. I promise you, I'm doing bits and bobs here and there. Trying to change the world. It's difficult doing everything at the same time. Lee says, Lee, way less of a footprint than all the problems that you are fixing. That's a thought, actually, isn't it? Penny says, constructive criticism for the sake of helping owners and their horses. Meg Eccleston says, morning, hello, my lovely. Pia says, oh, hi. Knuckle says, hi from Canberra. Who's that? I don't know who that is. Kathy Yorkshire Lass says, love your fight, Lindsay. We love you guys too, and thank you for following us. Gary says, Casimir wants his breakfast. He does. He's literally stood at the fence. I'm going to have to go. I've been on forever and ever and ever. 37 minutes. It's way, way too long. Roger says, we prove all things and discern the evidence. We do, and you don't have to look. But when you do look, you will see. You will see. Oh my God, there's so many. I can't answer you all. There's just absolutely so many. Yantha says, balance. It's so simple. Good day, Casimir from Australia. Good day. Stella says she loves you. She'd like to kiss you. She says you're lovely, beautiful, lovely big donkey. Otherly need to go to Specsavers as he obviously is blind. Trish says if you have any kind of engineering logical mind, you can see this makes sense. I mean, it's obvious. Go and look at one of my latest posts where I take the 2 hoof capsules, one before the trim, one after the trim, and you can see they've changed planes. What does that mean? It means that the anatomy on the inside has changed too. Go have a look. Coming up to Auckland and Christchurch, can't get enough. You're coming to both. Fantastic. Otherly needs to get some ears too. Gary says, balance before rehab. Take the time to look at the evidence. Can you afford not to? Absolutely. Right. Morning from Suffolk, says Julie Parkinson. Eating my porridge. I'm going to go and have some breakfast now because I'm starving. Animals first always comes before me. Judy Wendland says 3:17 a.m. in Kansas, USA. You go, girl. Look at the state of me. And Jacqueline Douglas says it's not rocket science. Hello to Martha. Right, okay, I'm going to go because I have those horses and donkey to feed over there. I've got these dogs to give a biscuit to. I've got little Lancelot turning up. I've got my cats and dog to sort out. And then I've got to go and do a ton of work today. So it's goodbye from me. And if you are at all, if you think that we're not, if you think what we're saying is all untrue, it would unravel like that if we were getting it wrong. It's not unraveling though. We're going the other way, aren't we? We're getting horses better. Crippled Horses was the title of this live. So I'll see you whenever next. But I'm going to build up to vlogging every day if I can as I go through the world and meet all these lovely people and hopefully start saving more lives. All right, my lovelies, take care. I've loved speaking to you this morning. Love you all. Go back to bed or go and eat your breakfast. But whatever you do, keep fighting the fight, you Phoenix Warriors. All the best now. Love you now. Bye-bye. Take care. Bye.